Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, again, we'll continue or discuss what was should be discussed last time. What's supposed to be 3 hours, but yeah, we exceeded because of the functions. So, anyways, this is the continuation of the introduction to data analytics using Excel session last week. So for this session, we'll be discussing or we'll be continuing the descriptive analytics part, and then we'll uh, tackle or I'll show you how to visualize data using Excel. So just a quick summary of what we discussed last week. So I introduced you to the data analysis flow in Excel. So we discussed the functions and some ways on how to analyze the data using Excel. We also showed how to insert or ingest data using the Power Query function. Then we created a table, and then we uh, applied different functions using Power Query to transform the data that we ingested, and then create like a final output of the data. And then we clean data using the different functions and then analyze it with the different Excel functions. And then now we'll continue on the descriptive analytics part. So so there. So we discussed frequency. We created a pivot table and then showed the different products that are um, available or that were sold by the different uh, coffee shops, right? Based on the data set. So we aggregated the count of the transactions. So we have a total of 149,116. And then we also inserted or added the total sales. So this is just the sum of our total sales column. So the total sales for the first half of the year, based on the data set, right, is around 698,800. So it's also good that you um, add value by putting your analysis no below your visual. So like for this one, I added like some of the highlights or some items that are worth mentioning, especially when you're trying to present your data to people, right? That doesn't know what the data set is about, or they don't have any visibility on the data that you're analyzing or that you've analyzed. So like adding a summary at the bottom or findings, right, gives an idea on what you're trying to show them. So like for this example, if we summarize the number of transaction and sales, right? So 85% of the total transactions are actually coming from coffee, tea, and bakery products. So based on the pivot chart. Let me just admit people. Just one sec. Uh, Let me stop sharing first. Yeah, it's hard to switch no? If you're presenting and then people are trying to join because I have to admit them. But anyways, yeah. So what I'm saying is 85% of the transactions are coffee, tea, and bakery products. So that's just the the count, no, for each of these coffee, tea, bakery, and then you add, and then you get the percentage out of the total. You can also add that in your pivot table. For example, if we change this aggregation, because this is count, right? As you can see here, count, no? We change this to count. We can also change this to percentage, no? Show data as percentage of total, percentage of column total. No? So we can see by the percentage. No? So if we add this three, should be at around 85%. No? So 39% coming from coffee, tea 30%, and then bakery 15%, almost. In terms of sales, 79% of the sales are also coming from these products. No? So if we add these three, the total sales for these three is around 100 or $548,674 dollars. So if we get the percentage of that total from this 698,000, like, will be at around 79%. Or you can also do the percentage of column total, no? The one that I showed. Yeah. So if you add this, it's around 75 or sorry, 79%. So those are added values, no, to your analysis. So you're not just showing the count or the total sales. No? You're also giving the percentage. And then another value that we can get out of this is we can see which products are not doing well in terms of the number of transactions and sales. So yeah, we can recommend, no, or we can suggest uh, if these products are actually not doing well in terms of sales and number of transactions, we can just suggest to have this removed from the inventory, no? And maybe just focus on those that are doing well. That's making or maximizing your profits, no, or your money, no, because at the end of the day, everything is about making money. Yeah. That's why we're doing data analysis, is not just to um, present something or analyze just for the sake of analyzing the data. No, it's about doing business decisions. That's what I mentioned a week ago, and finding ways on how to um, uh, maximize or optimize, no, the business. So there are different metrics that um, uh, helps the business to ultimately um, succeed, no? And then some of those are revenue um, or profit, no? Some of those are accuracy or turnaround time, no? But at the end of the day, it's all about making money and not losing the business or not being bankrupt. That's why we're using data. Because if we don't use data, we'll just be basing it on assumptions or gut feel, which is not really wise to do, or it's not a good thing to do because you don't have a basis of doing something. And there might be instances that because of that business decision, you did not back it up by data, you will be penalized, no? For example, there are risks involved, like For example, exposure to um, different risks. No? So it's good to be guided by making use of the data that is being um, uh, generated or produced by the business. And before you can have data, you should collect it, or you should be able to record it. So that's another part of having like a data-driven organization or business. You should implement steps or create like a management system on how you can actually collect your data and then manage it and protect it. So that's for frequency, which I think is just a review, no? And then histogram. So this is just for us to see um, where our data, where are the values of the data um, are at, no? In terms of, is it on the higher or high values, or is it in the low values, or is it distributed or evenly distributed? No? So with this, you will have an idea on what your the distribution of your data set. Like for the data set that we used, so it's actually right skewed, no? Meaning the values are actually in the lower side. No? So we only have a few values, or in terms of the price, right, or the sales. We only have few sales on those transactions with high amounts or high values. So most of the transactions are with um, low dollar values. So with this, we can also like uh, show this statistics, no? Descriptive statistics. So we have maximum, minimum. So our maximum price is 360, and then our minimum price is 80 cents. And then from this, we can actually calculate how many bins or categories we can come up for us to be able to create our histogram. So bins is like categories or groups. You're trying to group certain values into several categories. No? So you will actually have an idea on what range of the values are, no, in terms of the distribution. So like for this one, the almost above, or 98%, right? Above 90% are actually are falling within this range, no? Or $10 and below, no? This range. So with this, we will have an idea on what kind of business this company is doing, no? So it's only at the low end or low dollar value items. No? It's not really like catering to people um, who can buy expensive things. No? It's actually like low end uh, customers, or those customers that are actually not in the upper or class, no? In terms of uh, the value of the items that they purchase. Yeah. So without having an idea on what the business is doing, no, but just by looking at the data set or the data, we can have like uh, initial um, observation, no, review on what they're actually doing, or how what's their operating model is. So yeah, so that's for histogram, and then it's also good to provide some key points, no, when you're presenting charts. So it's not just you create a chart and then present it and then talk and talk, no. You might actually uh have your audience get lost, while you're talking. So it's better that they have something to look at. So just don't make it too wordy. No, just uh, provide or just show the key points on what you're trying to tell them, or what's your story is about. And having these key points in your presentations also guides you or helps you when you're doing your presentations. It helps you to be focused on these points. And it's also good to note, no, that there are actually outliers, no. So outliers are like um extreme values, no, doesn't actually falls near the distribution. As we can see, the distribution is just around here, no? And then you have values wherein, yeah, you cannot actually notice them. So we can consider them as outliers. So it's around 10 transactions with sales of $360. We can also see that in our distribution here. No? Okay. I'll try to check questions. So as much as possible, I want to us to be continuous. I'll try to check the questions later in the chat. So next, this is what I'm trying to show last week that I'm having like an issue with. But when I check the recording, it's actually showing. But in my end, I'm actually not seeing the chart. So maybe it's because of a Zoom, or I'm not sure. So this is a box plot. So what's actually good with the box plot? It also gives you an idea of the spread or distribution of your data. So same as the histogram, but what's good about this is that you can see it by the quartile or by the 25%. No? So like your first quarter. So if you talk about quarters, like uh, you're dividing your data set into four, no? Four parts. So your first quartile, no? So that's your first 25% or initial 25%. We can just use the quartile function. No? I think I discussed this last week. And then if it's first quartile or the first 25%, you just indicate one. Second quartile or 50%, two. Third quartile or 75%. That's three. So we can see here that in terms of price, our first 25% of the data set, so out of all the transactions or the universe of our transaction, 25% of that is with values or price with $3 and below. 25%. And then 50% of that of your data set has or of your total sales actually falls uh, within $0 to $3.75. And then 75% is $6 and below. So just imagine, no? Sobrang your values or your sales are just below or majority of your transactions, no? So you just got $6 and below out of all those transactions, 75% of your transactions. No? So you're not really into the price, no? If you try to look at it at that perspective, the 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 goal or the strategy of the business is to really make uh money based on putting more transactions. No? Kasi lower values lang siya, or low dollar amount. So importante na maraming pumasok na transactions. No? And then if we uh try to subtract our third quartile and first quartile, so $6 and $3, we will get our interquartile range. So in our box plot, so that's the area between Q3 and Q1. So that's your IQR. for interquartile range. And as you can see here, no, medyo ano siya, no, may compress. The visual is compressed because of this value. 10. 10 transactions with $360 of sales. Pero if we remove this, no, medyo, yeah, makikita natin yung IQR natin or the IQR. And then the values outside of the IQR or the Q1 and Q3, no, the range of that, we can consider as outliers. So those circles, no, or dots outside the line. So the box plot, so it's actually also called the box and whisker plot. No? Whisker is yung parang sa pusa, no? Sa cat. You have whiskers. So yung that's the name that they use because of how the chart looks like. As you can see, no, those circles above the line here and below here are considered outliers. So it's easier to see, no, which values are you can actually highlight as outliers. So outliers because they may be special causes or cases, no? They may not be happening most of the time, or there are irregular cases or irregular transactions. So especially when you move to or when you try to do predictive analytics, we try to remove outliers because it greatly affects the performance of the algorithms. Or if you're actually familiar with machine learning, you know, uh, we actually use algorithms or models, you know, to be able to do predictive analytics. So predictive means that you're trying to forecast or predict, you know, values that are actually um, uh, might not or may happen in the future. So that's why it's predictive. We're doing a prediction using data. So there are also techniques like probability, no? But probability is around 50%, no? 50-50. So it might be true or false, no? So probability is like the method that is being used before machine learning and AI, no? But right now with the advance in computing, and then right now we have ChatGPT, so we have the generative AI models. So it's easier to also do data analysis. So yeah, that's for box plot. So yeah, it's also a good practice. No? One of the best practices that I do is to provide um, summaries for every visual. Yeah. Uh, and then this last part here is just to for us to have an idea or how to describe our data set using statistics. So we can compute for the mean, which is the average. So it's like a representative value of all the values that we're trying to analyze. No? So by getting the mean, we will have an idea on what's the distribution, no, of our data set. If the mean is high, then we expect that the values of our data set are high. No? If the mean is low, then we can say that most of the values of our data set are low. No? So let's try to compute for the mean. So we're looking at just the price, no, based on our data set. Just, yeah, total price. Again, for me, this is very critical if you're looking at data. I'll immediately look at price, no? This determines the how the business will actually it will, if the business will survive or not, no, or it will do good or not well. Okay, so mean, so it's just average. uh, Average. So what's good with Excel again? If you type in a function, you can see, no, it gives or provides suggestions on based on what you type. So we'll be looking at total sales. So append total price. So append is a name of our table. No? That's why it's a good practice to create tables, and they're actually you can name them on what name that you would want, no, or what you like, so that when you call a formula, no, you don't have to highlight the range. No, you can just call out the name of the table. That's easier, and then you can call out the column that you want to include in your function. No? So our mean is $4.69 or average. So we can see here just by looking at the mean, no, most of our values or majority of our values are actually um, low. So median, so if we remove the outliers, so remember the outliers that we discussed for box plot. No? If we remove those outliers, so that will be like the ideal number. So you can say that uh, median is like uh, living in an ideal world or in a perfect world. And then mean is like the reality or the real scenario of your data set. No? So median, so from the names of you, if the function is named median, so it's pretty straightforward. So append and then total price. No? So if you remove the outliers, our median or our middle value, you can call it like that, is $3.75. So ito yung parang ideal or perfect scenario of your data without the outliers. And then mean is like your reality or real scenario of your data set. So another way to look at this is mean is with outliers, median is without outliers. And then mode is just the middle number. So if you try to uh, imagine that you're trying to line up all of your values in one line, in one straight line. So the middle of that. So if you try to get the middle, so that will be the value. Huh? Mode, append, total. So $3. That's the value in the middle, which is our actually our IQR. No? So range. So that's the difference of max and min. No? So there's no direct function for range. No? So we can just get this from max, which is this one, right? This one minus min. So we get our range. So this is like how large your data or your values is. So variance is related to standard deviation. No? So it's also a statistical measure on the spread of your data. So how varied, so based on the name, variance, variability. It's also under the measures of variability. So variance. So just don't be confused with var p, var s. No. P is just population, S is for sample. So in statistic we have like uh a population and then a sample. So population is just the universe of all of your data set. No? Then sample is just you're trying to pick a sample from your universe or from your population. So that's statistics. No? We'll not discuss statistics here. Um, total total price. No? Yeah, 17.87 or 18. No? That's your variance. Standard deviation, we can call it standard STDEV. No? There's the function, the formula. You can also use if you're doing statistics, no? STDEV.P, which is for population, and then STDEV.S. Mm, okay. So 4.23. So if you compare your standard deviation with your mean, no, it's actually almost near, no, your mean, which is actually a good thing. So it means that you only have a few outliers, no, or few values that are actually outside of your distribution, no, or the normal range of your data. And then coefficient of variation, so it's just the um what you call this? If you divide SDEV or standard deviation and mean, you will get your coefficient of variation or R squared. No? So in statistics or when we're trying to uh, determine like the positions or the location of data or the points in a line, remember we have this like um, regression equation. No? And you can actually compute for the R squared or coefficient of variation from the regression equation or from the line, no, that you can produce out of your data. So mean, no? SDEV over mean, maybe 11. Yeah, SDEV over mean. So around 90%. So it's kind of high, no? Because we have outliers, diba? Yeah, we're looking at the box plot, no? As you can see. So there. So based on these statistics, we will have more idea on what our the values of our data set are. No? So we can see here, just by looking at this, we can see that our the values of our data set are highly dispersed or spread out in terms of the different values. Are they unique? No, mostly unique, or are they actually mostly the same? No. So yeah, we can also see that in our distribution initially. No? So all of this are actually connected with each other. So it's a good practice that you follow this kind of analysis. You don't immediately jump to creating charts, no, or doing forecast or prediction. You need first to understand what your data is, no. So you need to perform descriptive statistics. Okay. So let me just check the chat now if there are questions. Yeah, key points. I thought there's a question. Okay, so that's for some of the techniques, no? Are there a lot of techniques, no? In doing descriptive statistics or analytics. As you can see here, these are just some, no? But there's other a lot. Just for statistics, no? You can also do like different techniques, like chi-square test. Um, uh, you can also try to do a correlation, no? Correlation, a Pearson correlation. So that's actually trying to find out a relationship between your data, no? Or the variables of your data. You can also do a heat map, no? So yeah, but these are the most common. No? The most common, yeah, frequency, histogram, box plot, and then your statistics, initial statistics, right? In Python, you can just call out a function that automatically gives you all of this. No? When you're working with data frames, if you have worked with Python, you just call out a function and it will generate you all of this. No? In R as well, if you're familiar with the R programming, yeah, there's also an available function for that. But right now, the most popular is Python. Aside from Excel, I think Excel is still popular. And it will actually, um, because Excel is like been there since the 1980s or I think 1970s. And it keeps on evolving. No? If you're familiar with Lotus 123, Lotus, that's the like uh the what you call this, the ancestor of Excel. Everything actually, all of the tools that we use in Microsoft, PowerPoint, actually started in a crude beginnings or humble beginnings, no? And then it just develops over time because of the improvement or growth in technology. But yeah, Excel has been around for a while, but it's still being used. No? But because of the for me, the accessibility, and then how easy it is to use, no? Because you don't have to code, no? Because not all people can code or do programming, no? And it's quick, no? For me, you just load your data and then you create a pivot. You can actually do your analysis from there. But if that's the for me, uh, it depends, no, on what data are you working with. No? If your data is Excel, you can immediately just do it in Excel. You know? But if you know programming or coding, you can actually automate the stuff that you do in Excel. That's the advantage of doing programming or coding. It automates uh, stuff that you do, no, or manually do. But yeah, I started with Excel, no? Uh, 16 years ago. I started with Excel. And we have Excel in college. I think we did statistics with Excel. We also created chart. And then when I um work started working with the company, you know, with my current company, I started to learn Visual Basic. That's like the automation language or programming language for um Microsoft applications before. So I actually created some automations in Excel before in our company. So like getting data from different web pages or data sources, and then automating the copy and pasting and then the processing of the data. You can actually do that in VBA if the platform you're using is Excel, no? But right now, because of the different platforms tools, no, we have to also improve our skills. No? That's why I also learned Python and SQL because Python is very powerful. No, it's not just you cannot just use it in a spreadsheet. You can use it in web programming. You can use it for automation, data analysis, machine learning, end-to-end um, end-to-end um, applications. No, so from the front end and then back end, no? You can use Python. But yeah, it's good if you know like a lot of programming languages because that will make you flexible. No, like for example, if you know Java, you can create software applications. No? Using Java. But you can also already do that in Python. You can also create a web page using Python. Before you can use HTML or now I think it's JavaScript, JS React. I know I'm not really a web developer. But yeah, there's a lot of programming languages out there. But for me, Python is really in terms of applicability. No? It has a lot of applications. VBA and Excel for automation. Yeah. So that's yeah. Um, if you're working with Excel, yeah, it's good to also explore VBA. But you can also do it in Python. You can some of the common stuff, no? In Excel is copying, pasting data, getting data, um, doing calculations, no? Or doing some checks or validation. You can do VBA. But you can also now do it in Python because the only downside with VBA is you have to open Excel to run it, right? So if you're just trying to automate something for yourself, yeah, you can do VBA. But if you want it to be used by others, you know, then there might be some downside in using VBA because sometimes some stuff doesn't work with others, no? Or compatibility issues. No? But with Python, it doesn't have those. No? It's kind of universal. You just let them or inform them what they need to download for the program to run. Sometimes they just share like you can create a requirements on a file wherein all of the needed modules are there. And then you just call them out so that when the program runs, those will be automatically installed. Instead of the users installing them on these modules on their own. No, you just let the program install it by itself. So that's an advantage. But yeah, there are pros and cons. But for me, yeah, Python is um, really a better um, alternative. Okay, so that's for descriptive. Now we go to visualization. So I showed you some charts already in the descriptive part, no? But for this um section, no? will create a dashboard. No? So a dashboard is actually a collection of visuals, no? Which helps us to monitor and analyze our data. No? So what's good with dashboards is we don't have to really look into the raw data, no? And do our analysis. We just look at the visuals. And then from there, we can already make a decision, no? Based on the what we actually see or what the visualizations or the visuals are actually telling us. So it speeds up your time in making decisions or doing analysis. So some of the charts available, so these are just the common ones. So column chart, bar chart, line chart, pie chart, area chart. I seldom use this. It's kind of confusing for me. I rather use a bar chart or a column chart. And then heat map. This is good for showing relationships between variables. A bubble chart. So this is also good. Instead of the normal scatter chart, so you can also add another dimension to be able to create a bubble chart. And then a combination chart or a combo chart. So the most common is the column and the line. No? But for me, I'd rather split it because like having a primary and secondary axis is kind of confusing, no? Because they are not actually the same range. No? So some other might be looking at a different one, no? And they might the visuals, the visual may confuse them. So yeah, based on our data set, we'll try to create charts. So first, we'll be creating like a dynamic chart using a pivot table. No? So dynamic means that it actually changes or updates based on your selection. No? It's not actually fixed. So the most common way of doing presentations is by PowerPoints, diba? And that visuals that you see there are fixed or static charts, no? They don't move or they're not dynamic. So what you see is what you get. But for me, I already do away with PowerPoint. So it depends on what platform you're using. Right. So for our company, we have our own dashboarding tool. So I use that for my presentation. I no longer use PowerPoints. And what's good about that is you don't have to keep on making the charts like every week or every month. The charts are already there. You just need to filter it. No? You select the points that you want to discuss and update your analysis from there. No? So yeah, let's try to make a chart using our data. So insert. So if we go to insert, no? First we create a pivot table. Then table arrange, we just put in append. This is the name of our table. So there, we have a blank pivot table. So looking at our data set, uh, let's try to show um, the number of transactions. Yeah? So yeah, there's a question. Can the Excel dashboards be shared on a web page or other ways possible since we have issues with MS licenses? Uh, the answer is yes. Yeah. So there's a offering or a product for Microsoft called uh, Power BI or Power Business Intelligence. So that allows you to create charts or dashboards and then have them shared um, uh, via web. no, or a web page. And there's actually a link that you can share to your team, and then they can view the dashboards using that link. No, so that's one way. Uh, but Power BI depends, no, because there's a license involved. No, it's not free. uh, you can actually I think there's like a student uh license that can be used, but that's just for study purposes or educational training purposes. But if you're planning to use this on a corporate setting or in your work, then you have to really obtain a enterprise license for Microsoft Power BI. So yeah, that's the answer to that. It's a yes, but yeah, you have to pay for it. There's cost. It's not free. So if I so let's uh so let me just show you, more information on that. So if you go to Microsoft, Microsoft, yeah, Microsoft official homepage, then you can do search. You type in Power BI there. Yeah, there. Then there's pricing. So free account. So it actually allows you to play with it, no, or try to if you're trying to learn it. But the features are not really not all the features are there because it's a free account, no. So you cannot actually share it to others, no, or like um whatever data you put in, right? It can be seen by everyone, no. So that's another thing that you need to consider. Yeah, upgrade to Pro or Premium to share reports. No? So this is just for you to learn it and or have a feel of our BI. And there's actually a training for it. No? There's a certification. And there's a, I think, uh, I no longer recall how much, no, but there's a fee for that. To take that's just a, like, Power BI course. It's just a basic or introductory course to Power BI. And then you can apply for a certification. There's an exam for that. I do not take it. But because I've already been using Power BI, for me it's not really taking a certification is not really a measure of your expertise on using something. And I'm not really a fan of paying for online learning. Because it's online, no? So everyone can actually just jump in and take it. I'd rather pay for trainings wherein there's actually someone doing it. No, that's where the value of a training is. Someone guiding you or someone teaching you how to do it and sharing his experience, no, and expertise. Because those are actually you cannot search for that, no, in the internet. It takes time to get those experience, no, and expertise. Uh, yeah, it's yes, So if ever you're interested, yeah, you can explore this. So it's $10 per month. So this is just per user. So if you're talking about a company, so it's good to like have contact sales. So they're actually offering an enterprise. So how many employees that will be using? So there's a corresponding package, no, or cost for that. But if you're just using it personally and you want to share it with others, no, you're not really a company, or maybe you're a startup, no, startup business. You can either avail of the $10 or the $20 plan. No? It allows you to share your reports. or your dashboards. But this is per user, so only you can use it. Others can use it, but they can actually no, view the dashboard, but they cannot use Power BI. So yeah, an example of, I'm not sure if I already have Power BI. Power BI. Yeah, I think I created dashboards before on my public account. I'm not sure. I can check just for you to have an idea, no, how it looks like. Okay. It's not showing. Power, power. Yeah, this is the web version, and this is the some of the. Um, this is the what I did in Power BI. I show this in trainings, no, and it's just an example. So this is just a simple dashboard. Yeah. So what's good with this kind of tools, no? You don't have to manually create a chart from scratch, no? You just drop down whatever you want. No? So there are options available. So if I click on edit, so as you can see, there are charts here. No? You just drag them in the canvas. And then you set the parameters, no? Like this. Set the color, the orientation of the axis. No? So yeah, that's no, so this is not a Power BI session. But yeah, just to show you. No? And you can actually connect, no, different sources of data in Power BI. So you can use a database connection. You can upload an Excel file, CSV file. No? So there. Okay. And there's a link, no, in Excel to Power BI, no, using Power Query, no, and Power Pivot. But anyway, that's for Power BI. No? This is not a Power BI session. So at least you have an idea. And um, another consideration is with Power BI is this is only, you can only work on this if you're planning to download this, no, on your machine. This only works with Windows devices. So it doesn't work with the Mac. No? So if you want to use Power BI using a Mac, then you have to use the Power BI web, the web page version of Power BI. So if it's web page, then you have to consider your internet speed. Yeah, you have to be connected to the web. That's why it's that is why it's in the web. No, if you're familiar with other tools hosted in web pages or websites, they all use internet connection. And depending on your internet speed, no, it might give you frustration if your internet speed is slow because it takes time for the features or the functions to load, no, or render. So yeah, that's pros and cons. Another platform I think which is better is Tableau. If you're familiar with Tableau, so it doesn't have any restriction. So if it's a Windows or Mac, you can download it. But also you can also try the Tableau Public, which is the free version of Tableau. But not all features are there. No? As you can expect in a free account or a free license. No? Not all of the features are there. That's why that's one of the marketing strategies, diba? So if the features will be available for a free account, or if everything will be available, so no one will do the purchasing. They will not subscribe or avail of the other plans, no. So there. So going back to Excel, so everything starts with Excel. So I suggest you uh, do what you can with Excel. No? So before, one way for me to be able to share Excel dashboards is somehow or like to save them in a Google Drive and then give access to people in Google Drive because there's an option for Microsoft Online, no? So they can view the charts there. But it's just yeah, uh, one way of doing it, no? If you don't want to really purchase this costly applications. But again, Excel has limitations, no? In terms of the number of data or number of rows it can accommodate. So if your rows or if your data set is like uh more than 10 million rows, no? So you can no longer use Excel. May limits sa text see Excel eh. So if you check no, if you go down the lowest or the last row, no? So it's like around 1 million, no? 1,048,576. So that's the limit, no? So if your data set is more than this in terms of the numbers of rows, then you can no longer use Excel. No? So that's where big data comes in. No? That's the use of databases as data sources or data warehouses or data lakes. Actually, there's a new term now, lake house. Data lake house is like a combination of a data lake and a data warehouse. And that's another, yeah, cost. Fabric, yeah. I'm not familiar with Fabric. You can just try to search for it. It's another new product by Microsoft. Okay, so let's go back now. We already digressed. So visual. So let's try to create a pivot showing the number of transactions. No? So we can use the transaction ID. So we use count, field settings, count the transaction ID, 149. We change the formatting of the number. And then uh, we can show it by the month. No? Let's try by the month. Transaction year month. Let's rename this transactions. So yeah, you can actually rename your pivot table columns now. So we can see here from January 2023 until June 2023, the number of transactions. So from here, this pivot table, we can create a chart. So when we're trying to show like a time series data or trying to visualize time series data, this is considered time series because there's time or time periods involved. No? So it's better to show it as a line chart. No? You can see the flow or the movement of your data from one time period to another. Okay. So to insert the chart, so we'll be using a pivot table chart, not the ordinary chart, no? We'll be using a pivot table chart. Okay, so pivot table analyze. So when we click on pivot, you will see this additional options, no? Pivot table analyze and then design. So pivot table analyze. So you have here different options. One of which is to insert a pivot chart. No? So we click on that. So the default is like a column chart or a bar chart. No? Pero we'll change this to a line chart. No? So I click on the chart, I select format or design, then change chart type, and then I select line. I select the first one. Okay, I'll make this bigger. I'll highlight this first, make this bigger. And then I'll try to remove some stuff that for me I don't need. I'll change the color. So I go to design. There are different colors here available, no? Or palettes. You can also try to use the recommended designs here. No? But for me, I like to start from scratch. Okay. Format. So I change the color. Or you can also right click, format data series. There. Solid line. I'll change this to dark green because it's sales or transactions. No. So transactions may be uh dark, a little bit darker. Okay. So then let's make the line thicker. There. And then let's add a marker. Circle. Then marker fill. Solid. Let's use white. Solid line. Let's use dark green. Okay. And then let's also edit the axis. No? So you have the x-axis and then the y-axis. Let's also try to edit this. Let's change this to black. Let's also add tick marks. Let's also change the orientation, huh, of the labels. Maybe 35. Negative 35. There. So there. And then let's make the color of the text black. Yeah. Okay. So the tick marks here is for me to guide my eyes, no, on where the points are. No? Mas madali siyang tignan. It's easier to see, no, if you have like a guides here. So I'm now editing my y-axis. So change to black as well. Then I add tick marks. Axis options. Tick marks. Cross as well. Okay. Then let's try to add titles on the axis. No? So for the X, it's already considered, or it's straightforward that this is month. No? So no longer need to add the axis title. I'll be adding the title in the y-axis. No? So vertical, primary vertical. So horizontal, vertical. Okay. So let me change the font there and then the color black. So let's name this transaction count. There. Let's try to remove this box, no? No outline. There. And then let's put a box inside this area here. Solid line. Black. There. And then let's add a title. So monthly transaction. Let's adjust the size now. So that's one chart. So mamaya na natin siya, later we'll change the colors, no? Depending on what we want. Pero visualization dashboarding is also an art, no? Not just a technical thing, no? You also need to like have an idea on how to combine colors, how to do contrast or design principles, no? If you're familiar with Gestalt principle, no? So there are elements or different design principles that you have to consider in terms of art or design. So there's contrast, balance, um, uh, uh, avoiding redundancies, no? Color schemes. So maraming design principles. So that's one chart. Later on, you will see why it is considered a dynamic chart. No? So let's add another chart. So we have the monthly transactions. So this is an example of a line chart. As you can see, we have line, a line. And the only difference of a line chart with the scatter chart, no, is the line. No, they're connected. The points are connected. No? So here, we can actually see that this value here, looking at this guide, no, is around 17,000. No? 17,000. Then this one is 16. This one is around 21. This one is 25. And this one is 33. No? And then this one is 35. No? We don't actually need to know the exact number. Just by looking at the guides, no, you can already do an estimate if your um data is actually increasing or decreasing or improving or not improving. No? That's the purpose of the visual, is to guide your eyes. No? It's not really to overwhelm your audience with numbers. No? It's more of identifying a pattern or behavior of the data set. Okay, so let's create another chart. So I'll just be copying this pivot. Let's just try to change the color din para meron tayong ano, yeah, di ba? Meron tayong color coordination. Okay, so let me copy this. Let me uh, create another chart. For questions, just type in the chat, guys, no? So that we will be doing or going with no interruptions. So and then I'll try to check your questions in the chat and answer them. So we already have the transaction. So next is uh, for our data set, let's look at um, quantity, no? Maybe quantity. So for quantity, uh, instead of this one, we'll be using transaction quantity. So let's change the format of the number. Again, whole number and separated by comma. Um, products. Products sold. Okay. So the number of transactions is different from the number of products sold. No? Because if you're talking about transactions, it's per invoice, it's per like per receipt. No? In one receipt, you may have multiple products or items. No? So for this one, let's create uh, a bar chart. No? A bar chart. So uh, pivot chart. So the default is a bar chart. No? So if you don't want to start from scratch, so the one thing that I do is I copy the chart, no, from the previous one that I created, and then select data. First, sorry, let me copy it in another chart, another Excel file. There, no? Because you cannot change it, no, if you just directly copy it. Select data, there, there. No? Let's change the chart type. Design chart type column. So let's call this monthly products sold. Instead of transaction, we can call this item count or product count. No? So, and then we can change the color para medyo, ano tayo, color coordinated. So we go to format, shape fill. Let me let's make this brighter, no? Para may konting contrast. So, oh sorry. Yeah. And then maybe let's reduce the gap, no? Okay, there. So that's another chart. So next, what we can do, total price. Total price. So I'm copying again this. So product sold and then total price. Okay, so sum number. Let's change this to currency because it's price, right? Yeah. So I'm using sum, no? Total price for each month. So that's what we're interested in. Not the average, guys. The sum. Um, total sales. No? We can call this total sales. And then maybe uh mm, maybe we can do um a column chart, no? Or a horizontal bar chart. Let me copy this. Copy. Select data. Monthly, monthly sales. Total sales. USD. Uh, let's change the color. Mm, I think we can change the color of this instead of green. What's good with green? Oops. Or let's try to use blue. Yeah, blue. Blue. Yeah, para medyo ano, neutral. I mean, hindi siya ganun ka layo yung contrast. Let's make this darker. Not too dark. There. And then let's change this to horizontal. No? Design here. Um, uh, yeah, we just keep it as is. No? Hindi siya magandang tignan na horizontal. Galing na natin yung chart title. Access label. Understood na yun. Naka-currency na siya. Okay. So we have three charts. So let's add another one. Ano pa ba? Maybe pie chart, no? Copy. Uh, so we keep total sales, but instead of the monthly, let's try to uh mm, let's try to look at it by location since we only have three locations, no? So let's add location there. Total sales. Then let's add a pie chart. Select data. Design pie chart. Let's remove the outline. Okay. Sales. Sales by store. No, store. By store na lang. It's too long. Uh, let's try to change or let's try to add values. No? Data values. Assign pie chart element. Data labels. Best fit. Mm, Center na lang. Okay. Center. So that we can make it bigger. Okay. Let's change the color. Okay. It's important that when you're doing pie charts and the colors are actually too close to each other, you need to do some contrasting. No? Like maybe the highest piece of the pie, you can make it darker, and then as it goes, as the values go lower, no, or as you move clockwise, the colors actually become lighter, no? Or in terms of the shade, no. So nag-start ka dito sa dark, no? It's a little bit dark, no? No? You can do that, no? You can see the difference, no? Okay. So now we have four charts. One, two, three, four. Let's try to arrange this, no? May gusto pa ba kayo makita? Ano pa ba? Maybe we can add later, no? Let me just try to arrange this. Okay, let me move this here. Monthly products sold. Monthly sales. Or maybe I'll put sales first because that's the most important one. And monthly transactions. Or maybe put them beside together. Where's my pie chart? Hmm. Parang mas maganda nasa taas siya. No? 14, 14, 14, 14. Maybe I can change this, no? Instead of monthly products. Let's change this to the items, no? Product category. There. Yan. Then I think we can do a horizontal bar chart here. There. Okay. Let's remove the label. Okay. Mm, let's sort this largest to smallest. Oops. The other way around. There. And let's change the orientation. Next. 0. Oops. Hmm. Okay. Or maybe I can make this black na lang din. Or maybe green. There. So there's contrast. No? Okay. So, for example, this is the charts that we want in our dashboard. No? So this, let's just group this. Group. Okay. So I can move all of them at once. So maybe we can add a summary here at the top. So transactions. Let me insert a text box. No outline. No fill. Okay. Yeah, we get this from our pivot, no? Total transactions, this one, total. Which format? 1000. Center, center. Let's make it bigger. Total sales equals this one. Let's change the format, the currency, English US. You can actually remove the decimals, no? Yeah. Okay, then let's move this a little bit here. Okay, let me just hide this. Data. Group. Okay, so we finished with the charts. So it's looking like more of like a dashboard now, right? So what I will do to make this dynamic is I'll insert slicers. No? So it's like adding filters. No? data filters to your charts. So I'll click on a pivot, uh, pivot table analyze, and then insert slicer. I select the categories or the variables that I want to become a slicer or a filter. So I select store location, product category, also the month. Okay, just three, no? Change the color. Maybe like let me change this to product type. Okay, let's move this. Let's move this. Product type. So it's up to you how you will arrange your pivots. No? You can actually make it more, uh, a little bit more organized. No? And so there. Let me just connect my slicers, no, to the other charts or to the other pivots. Okay, let me hide this. Okay, so now we have our dashboard. No? So for example, I can see here that my total transactions for the first half of the year, no, is around 149,116, and then my total sales is around $699,000. No? Then I can see here the monthly trend. So it's in a increasing trend, so meaning the sales are actually increasing from month to month. I can also see the distribution by the store location or by the store. Or we forgot to add a legend here, no? Or you can see legend left. There. Oh, we can see na which stores. No? We have Astoria, Hell's Kitchen, Lower Manhattan. No? Hell's Kitchen. So by the store, no, it's almost the same. No? A little bit higher for Hell's Kitchen. So let's arrange this from top to bottom. Sort. Just the smallest. Okay. There. Yeah. So this part should be darker. This one bit lighter. There. Okay. Then we can also see the number of transactions per month. So in terms of sales and transactions, no, it's actually the same trend. No, it's on improving or increasing trend month on month. And we can also see here the which products are actually has a number of items sold. No, so brewed coffee, hot chocolate, drip coffee, brewed green tea. No, so these are your top five. Biscotti. So if we would want to just look at the current month in terms of the total transactions and sales, no, we can select the current month. No? As you can see, my charts update based on the filters that I have or the filters I select. No? That's why it's called dynamic. It's not static. So we can also change the labels of the slicers. No, uh, slicer settings. Year month here. Slicer settings. T-shirt. Public category. Product. There. So it's more we call this uh easily understood, no? Or pretty straightforward. So for example, I want to look at Astoria. So all of the charts will update for Astoria. No? So if I select Astoria. No? So as you do your presentation or as you go along explaining things, you can actually select, no, what you want to highlight based on the slicers. So like for Astoria, I have a total of 50,599 transactions for the first half of the year, no, 2023, with a total of 232,244 dollars of sales. And then I can see my top products, no, for Astoria. No, gourmet brewed coffee, brewed herbal tea, premium brewed coffee. So those are my top three. Or we can make this bigger. No? The other items are not visible. So let's adjust this. So with this, you have to adjust your visuals. And maybe, where will I put this? So, somewhere. Design, no fill. Where will I put you? Maybe there, no? Hindi ko na siya alam kung saan ko siya lalagay. Anyways, so I have to adjust para we can see the other values, no? Or variables. So the top actually for Astoria, brew chai tea. So this is like healthy, healthy tea. Gourmet brewed coffee, barista espresso, hot chocolate, brewed herbal tea. No? So here we can see, no, if the our customer segment, no, are they in for the healthy stuff, or which items are actually they usually purchase, and then from there we can create a demographics, no, or we can do customer segmentation. And then for Hell's Kitchen, we can see, no, a barista espresso, brewed chai tea, with herbal tea, Lower Manhattan. So I think for Lower Manhattan, they're more into the coffee, no, coffee products. For Hell's Kitchen, also coffee, and then tea. For Astoria, tea. Tea is the top, and then followed by gourmet with coffee. And then we can also look at the product group, no? So for the bakery items, we can see the products, no? Under bakery, scone, pastry, biscotti. So biscotti is actually good with coffee, no? Then we can see branded, so housewares, clothing, coffee, no? Coffee beans, drinking chocolate, flavors, loose tea, package. So there, that's creating a dashboard from scratch. So you can also change the background color if you want. No, it's really up to you. But for me, I usually work with a white canvas or a white background. It's easier to adjust if your background is white, and it's not really overwhelming to the eyes. No. So there, that's creating a dashboard from scratch, and then you can actually make or add your analysis here. You can create text boxes with your initial findings, or if you have something to highlight, no, you can. No? Uh, okay. Let me check if we have questions, no, in the chat. Let me save this first. Are Excel features different in terms of what features? I think in terms of features, there are mostly the same. It's a spreadsheet. So what you can expect from a spreadsheet is you're trying to do like basic calculations, recording stuff. But in terms of other functions like um, uh, uh, the solver function in Excel, um, doing predictive analytics. No? I think that's the advantage versus Google Sheets. No? You can only do uh, the basic stuff. And in terms of your data, it's kind of limited in Google Sheets. No? I think you can only work with 100 rows initially. And some of the functions in terms of the names, no, names of the functions, they're a bit different because there's uh there's uh what we call this patents, no, and proprietary uh issues. No? You cannot really copy a function from one software to another. You might be sued for infringement, copyright infringement, or patent infringement. So this is just Excel. So Google Sheet is a different um, tool, but it's also a spreadsheet tool, and it's being offered by Google. So Excel is Microsoft. Other questions? So yeah, we supposedly this is just a continuation of last week's intro session. So we're actually finished. So we finished the dashboard part. So it's if you have any question, it's a good time to ask. None? You're all good? Okay. If that's the case, uh, I think we already covered some of the basic or introductory of topics that you can actually encounter when working with data analytics using Excel. There's actually more techniques. So there's actually predictive and forecasting, which we did not touch. But in terms of doing your data analysis, no, as an introduction, we've covered some of the common ones, and I hope you can actually use this when you start, no, or if ever you're planning to shift to a data analytics career. I suggest you start first with Excel before you move to um, other tools or platforms. Okay. Uh, so if there are no questions, so that will be, yeah, the end of the introductory session. So thank you for attending. So please feel free to um, fill up the survey so you can scan this QR code, and then kindly fill up the survey so that will help me uh, understand, no, or gauge if this is effective or not, or if there are any improvements that I need to implement. But I hope this will not be the last session, no, of the free webinars that I will be offering. But just in case you have something that interests you or you want to know in terms of data analytics, yeah, just feel free to also mention in the survey, or you can also send me a message. And let's see, let's see if we can do another free webinar on those topics. I can also if you feel or if you want to support this, no, so because not all can actually afford, no, to pay for trainings like this or sessions. So if you would want me to continue this doing for free, no, please feel free to donate. So ang daming free na. Pero yeah, your support will definitely help, no. So there are some who actually send their donations, and thank you for that. I think they appreciate the course, no. So there, and also please follow or like my Facebook page. I also have a LinkedIn page, so just search for me, Camilo Carlo Mendiola. I'll be posting the recording of this in my YouTube channel, so feel free to also subscribe and like the videos. I hope you already seen the first part, so it's already there. So if ever you want to go back to it or review it, you can actually do so by going to the channel. So that's it. Thank you for your time today, and just let me know. No, feel free to message me, and have a good weekend. It's actually a long weekend, so enjoy the weekend, and thank you, and stay safe.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everyone.